Tajua mjui. Tajua mjui. Mnabebwa na ambulance. Mnabebwa na ambulance. Mnabebwa na ambulance. Tajua mjui. Tajua mjui.
Na wajumbe 6 kutoka National Assembly tuliingia kwa ambulance kutoka bunge. Mheshimiwa Spika, tulipatikana na vijana wamesimamisha ambulance, sisi tukiwa kwa hiyo ambulance. Mheshimiwa Spika, hiyo ambulance imoroshwa na mawe mbele, nyuma, katikati, kila mahali. Mheshimiwa Spika, ningependa kuchukua nafasi hii leo, ungesikia vifo.
That was the biggest mistake for the EMS to do. Carrying the EMPs and the public, when the public realized that what happens is the trust was gone. So what happened? The public started to attack all the ambulances, and it was not safe for all responders. Hello and welcome. My name is Patrick Thoya, and welcome to my channel. If you're new to this channel, kindly subscribe. In this, we normally discuss on EMS matters. For our discussion today, it will be on what transpired during the Occupy the Parliament protest on Tuesday. The aim of this discussion is not to accuse, but it's mainly for education purposes, so that we can identify the gaps, so that we can improve on them. Without wasting much time, number 2 is poor planning. I'm not saying that we didn't have a plan as EMS. There was a plan, but it's either we underplanned or we failed to factor so many aspects. Did we know the dangers that were associated by that will come across with this operation? What were the resources? What was our backup plan in case plan A does not work? What was our plan B? What was our plan C? Do we know the demand for coming up with a clear ICS structure? Those are the big questions that we need to ask ourselves. We underplanned, and when things changed, we were not able to adapt very fast. Number 3 is on poor ICS structure. Having known that these people were going to demonstrate, going to the parliament, a place that we know that it was a no-go zone, highly protected, that it will not be easy, that will have so many number of casualties. Plus, we have the information that the Gan-z have planned for a 1 million march. That's a big number. But the question was, what will happen when it explodes? So in that ICS structure, as agencies, did we come together? Or did we have different structures with different agencies? I'm talking about, did we have a situation, for example, that you have St. John's working on their own, E+ working on their own, other small agencies working on their own, the county government? What's supposed to be done in such an operation? Did we need a unified command system or a single structured system? That's a big question. As this was expanding, was our structure able to adapt very fast, realizing that we cannot work as independent, as a single component of EMS component, that we needed the fire, that we needed the police to work together? One of the big questions is, who was the incident commander at our station? That at that junior, who was in charge? Did we have all that communication to every agent, that every ambulance can report to the incident commander for deployment? What we saw was self-deployment. You arrive at the scene, you decide where you're going to station yourself. No good communication. So everyone was working to show off, which that was a risk on its own. We expected to have a staging area. We expected to have an incident commander. We expected to have an incident, a staging officer, the treatment officer. All the EMS components were supposed to work together. That we know that in such an operation, once you're deployed, once you're there, then you're not working under your agents, then it becomes a unified command structure. So that we work together, and by doing that, all this could not have happened. No ambulance could have responded to go and pick the MPs, because it must be from the incident commander. Okay? And one thing I can say again, as we say that the ICS should be flexible. When things started to change, did we adapt to that change? Did we try to change our staging area after realizing it is not safe? Was that the best time for us to look for another place? So the ICS structure, there was no good ICS structure. We decided to sideline the police. We wanted to work alone. What happened at the end, when the public turned on us, some of the medics were injured, tear gas were thrown to us, and all that. So that's a good learning point. In such an incident, we should have a good ICS structure that is established and with clear goals. Some of the medics were injured, tear gas were thrown to us, and all that. So that's a good learning point. In such an point number 4, poor synthesizer. When we were responding, we know that the most important thing in our operations. That should be the first thing. You knowing which area is safe, ensuring that your team is safe, as the incident commander, ensuring all the respondents are safe. Above all, we normally say, even if we are in a team, but this becomes a personal responsibility. As we are responding, were we able to identify the dangers? Did you know the hot zones, the cold zone? Because most of us found ourselves in the hot zone, being stormed. How far do we park from the protesters, from the police? Did you know that this was a special operation? So special, so unique, that when it comes to safety, it was you to realize that it was not safe for you to be on the side of the police, and also it was not safe for you to be on the side of the protesters. You become too much associated with the police, you become a target to the protesters. When you come to the side of the protesters, then it was so easy for the police to attack you as a small target. So it requires a special way on how you can approach such a situation. Where you park should be neutral from the police and from the protesters. Allowing all the protesters coming into where the treatment or staging area was, where we were doing our operation. And that's how you realize that we were tear gassed. Number 5, identification. How do you expect the police to distinguish you from the testers? What we witnessed was there were so many volunteers, EMTs, paramedics, nurses, doctors, that they decided to go and assist. But did you realize that identification is very important? We expect your uniform should have a logo, the EMS, that from a distance, this police can easily identify you and distinguish you from the protesters, that when you're giving care, that they know this is a medic attending, not a protester stealing. You could pick some of the medics who were arrested, but once they arrived to the police station and introducing themselves, they were released. Why should this happen? You look at them, most of them, they were not in uniform. That's a very big mistake. And that is, in such a mission, is you should be, the police should be in a position to distinguish the protesters, the medics, and you should put on your uniform. I know most of the agencies, they have the EMS uniform. It is not for show off. That is for such mission, so that the police cannot mistake that. As I conclude, one of the things that we should pick here is we should not play blame games. One of the big questions that we need to ask ourselves is, what if these ambulances that responded to the parliament were called because they were patient there? Because the information we have is from the media is that some of these leaders, that is MPs and senators, fainted during that when they realized that the protesters have been able to get into the parliament premises. Is it that maybe they called for the ambulance for these people to be evacuated? So it is not a time for us to say who did what or who did what, because every agent, when you receive such a call, then you want to respond. The thing is, we should focus on how do we better our response. The Gan-z has stated clearly, they are now going to occupy the nation. Then how do we have a unified command system in every town, in every area that there will be protesters, so that we work as a team? Thank you very much for listening. And if you have any comment or any suggestion, let me hear it down in the comment, and so that we can pick on that and work and improve on that. Thank you very much. And let's develop the EMS industry. Let's work as a team. Let's work as one team with one goal. We all have one mission: to assist the injured. And that's the mission.